Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. Any kind of questions and answers, we'll kind of come on to that in a little bit. Thanks for taking time out on Thursday. I know obviously plenty busy, plenty going on in the industry at the minute. So today's session then we're going to be covering PrimaGO, so some new kind of development features, some kind of questions and answers on some things that I know have been in the pipeline for a little bit of time. We've got Gary, Jim, Jordan and Dan, who are our PrimaGO development team, who've all joined us today. Just a couple of questions, kind of as part of it. There you go, Gary. Couple of kind of questions before we start. Any questions from anyone kind of in the audience watching? There won't be a kind of verbal Q&A session at the very end. In the actual chat option, you'll see there's a Q&A kind of option in there. If you submit your question in there, we'll come back directly on the chat as it's kind of ongoing. So any kind of questions you've got as we're presenting, just pop it in the Q&A section at the very bottom. From there, obviously, we can pick it up for you and get your answer as quickly as possible. This whole session is recorded, so if anyone is dropping off for any reason, if you need to kind of take a call or obviously do a little bit of work on the side, feel free to, so that's all okay. It'll all be recorded and we'll all be sent over from there. So with that being said, I'll pass over to Gary so we can get cracking with this one. So on to you, Gary.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this session. The whole session is going to last no more than an hour and a half. We'd rather it finish earlier than overrun, so we're trying to keep to time. From the agenda that went out, we have changed it slightly. What I'm going to do is give an overview of the infrastructure and the release process first. But what we felt, I like to always encourage my team to do presentations. So Jim, Jordan and Dan, in that order, will be presenting on various topics. But we're going to focus on the main part is key issues that are raised. So, for example, Jim will cover an update on and how the process works on order pads, pricing, sequencing and product display. Jordan's going to cover on all things email, because we do get a number of calls come in on those key topics. And then Dan will come in and cover things like new developments that are coming forward, blog, request for quote, control panel, category management. So really want to focus on what causes you a problem during your working day, and then also how we can help you with that, and then more what's coming in the future. Okay, what's about to come, and then what's coming in the future. We'll cover that at the end. So, from an infrastructure point of view, if I just share my screen, I'll do that again. You can see the lovely Andrew.
I can see you've started the screen share, hopefully.
Several months ago now,
yeah.
I have, yeah. Several months ago now, we started a process of upgrading infrastructure. We did have issues where we were getting a lot of denial of service attacks on the infrastructure, on the hardware. So we moved to a completely new platform. It's an ongoing process. We're about 2/3 of the way through customers upgrading. All the stuff that you'll see today is only on the new infrastructure. So if you haven't upgraded, and I know there's a few of you on here on this call that haven't, if you can drop me a message, because what we'll do is we'll help you upgrade. The upgrade process means a change to your DNS records. So we have to send you some new DNS records. Those that have had it, you know that we've helped you do it. We've either just given you the details and you've done it, or we've logged into your IT service provider and done it for you. So if you haven't upgraded and you've not seen the emails I've sent out, please contact me. You've got my email address, and we'll get that process doing, and we will do the upgrade for you out of hours. One of the key things to see very quickly if you upgraded is when you look for a product. When you look at product, you'll see you've got the breadcrumbs in this sort of format, and you'll have product unit on the product detail display. Okay, what benefits does the new infrastructure offer you? It has a full doorman process on there, front doorman process. So It blocks any denial of services. It is a vastly improved speed for your users. The checkout process, those that have moved to it would obviously know that whole process is very very efficient. It just updates the areas it wants to, and the look and feel. So if I was to add this to the basket, for example, it comes across on the right hand side over here. Timing of that, so it should just come straight up on there.
Typical.
It's typical, yeah. It's because I've just added that one to it. So, oh, here we go. Here. So it comes down the right hand side there. So they're key features of the new system. What we also have is full resilience as well. So if the system is being used extensively, we can up the instances automatically, and when it's not being used, we can down the instances automatically. Okay, and any issue that's brewing, we get 3 levels of alerts now. We get a warning that there is probably a high usage on the system. A second one where the response time is slowing down, and a third one when we actually jump on it and we respond to it. Okay. In addition to this, now with the new platform, we have a new release process. So we are moving to bi-monthly releases. So the first weekend every other month we will do a release. But more importantly now, if there is an issue, we don't have to do a release to everyone. We can have beta customers, so we can select one particularly. If they need a fix going in very quickly, we can actually apply that fix. We don't have to wait for the release, but we can move you onto our beta program. And obviously, when we get to this, the first month, every other month, in the first weekend of every month in a year, all the beta customers become live customers. Okay. One of the areas we've worked on is obviously the infrastructure and the speed, which benefits all of you guys. Okay, and as soon as we can get everyone across, the better. Okay, because then we go to one version. We've introduced Elasticsearch, which obviously learns what people are searching and helps in that area. The last key area, or the big key area now that we are working on, is direct searching. So people don't, you can see on my screen here, I've got lots of different categories. I'm not going to go too much into that because I'm not going to take the limelight from Dan, because he's going to cover that as well. But what most people do is they don't search in the category, they just search for a unique search. Okay, so we are now a project for weighting. So this is where it uses keywords. So in the descriptions of the products, that all takes out. So on here, all these words here will be taken out and put as keywords, so you get the results. What we need, this project isn't something that you can say, well, there's 10 steps to the project, let's deliver all 10 at once, because as you deliver each step, the results change. And I can demonstrate that by going to here. So if I search for pen, what I'm doing is, this is showing me the scores of the products. I've searched for pen, and you can see here, it's actually calculating the score of what's going to be returned. What we are introducing is partial matches and exact matches. So if someone searches for a word that's a partial match in a keyword, so maybe BAL for ball, it will get a lower score than if they typed in BALL. Okay, so we get a higher score for exact matches. So on here, I can then go to here. I've got my dev code going on here. And you can see instantly now my scores have gone up because I've got an exact match within there. The next step that we're looking to do is, if someone searches for a desk, or someone searches for desks, or someone searches for pen or pens, they should get the same results. Regardless, so pen and pen should give the same results, desk and desks. The challenge you have is when you have diary and diaries, okay, because it's obviously different, but that's the next part we're going to implement. So within the next 4 weeks, all these new weighting features will be in, and when your search responses, when you use the search bar at the top, be far more efficient. Okay. What I want to just touch on now is Punchout. Okay, so Punchout is in place, and if you ever have anyone that requests a Punchout, so to an ERP, we have a facility now. It seems odd when I'm speaking, no one can respond to me. If I go in here, you can see that we work with, I don't know if everyone can see that, hopefully they can. So we work with around 17 different ERPs now. There is a cost to the implementation, which is £2,000 and a monthly service charge on top of that. But what that cover costs is the implementation, working with your customer and their provider, making sure that all the testing, so from a Punchout process, it means that that client can connect to your web store, they can browse your web store, they can add to the basket, they can transfer the order back to their system, they can then have all the budget control and approval process in place there. They can then either send that back as a PDF to you as an email, or send it back as an electronic order straight into Prima. And then finally, you can have an invoice or credit go back to their system. So it can be a completely seamless process. Okay, so we have this facility where if it's one of the in the list, it's easy for us to set up. There are other systems out there that can be taken, and we can implement them. And it's often behind the scenes. It's just a different structure. But it's there to be used. If you need any more, if you get requirements for it, yeah, again, just drop into the team and they'll be able to help you give some information back, and we can set up a meeting or meetings with your client. And on that note, that's me for now. I'm going to hand over to Jim to go through Orderpad's pricing and products. Jim.
Well, thank you, Gary. First of all, I'm going to share my screen. So I'm just going to do a review of the Orderpad process in all areas, just to make sure that everything's covered. So first of all, on the Orderpads now, we've got a section on the left-hand side which actually gives a summary of the different types of Orderpads. Orderpads are split out by favorites, company Orderpads, and dealer Orderpads. Company Orderpads can be named several different things in Prima. In the back office, I think it's referred to as standard. And we've also got a shared has also been used as the same name for the same thing, but that's essentially company Orderpads. With this, it allows you to toggle between them. Before it was a bit of a back and forth clicking. So at the moment, when products are maintained in the back office, changes are made. So if a change to a product is done, changes to contracts or order pads in the back office, we go through a synchronization process. So if changes are actually made to this, they are not reflected straight away. So we can see this. I've got another order pad that I've actually created. And if I just log on to the customer, at the moment, on this particular order pad, there's nothing outstanding, and you would actually see a summary at the top. I'm just going to demonstrate that now. So on this user called Orderpad, I've actually created a Orderpad, and you can see that, sorry, I'm clicking through very fast. on this particular order pad, you can see the header against this order pad is indicating that it's still updating. So even though that products are being added to it, it's still going through a process of synchronization. So it's communication between our caching server. This is a test system, so this is actually paused, so you won't actually see this process completed. So if we go into the order pad, you can actually see a summary to say, well, 2 lines have actually been added to this order pad, but they're still in the status of being added. So that could indicate that maybe your EDC is not running, or maybe there's some other job that's in between. So there's a lot of emphasis, again, on the EDC that actually uses this process. So once that is actually completed, they'll appear as separate lines. So you can edit the order pad lines by changing the cost center and adding quantity, etc., as a standard order pad. In the back office, we have changed the process of, let me just switch the screens. We have changed the process of dealer order pads. Let me just set the entire screen because it's going to be absolutely like that. To set up a dealer order pad in the past, it became very unmanageable because what you had to do is actually go into a company, set up an order pad, and if you wanted to copy that same order pad, a dealer order pad, and copy it to several customers, you would have to literally copy the whole thing one by one to every single company. If you wanted to amend that dealer order pad, you would have to go to each customer that you copied that dealer order pad to and add that single product. So that's unmaintainable. So now all dealer order pads are actually attached to the own company. So if we go into the own company, which is the wrong way of doing it, if I go to order pads, you'll see a order pad in here. Oh, okay. If I go to the own company, you can see I've got a dealer order pad here. And this has got 1 product on it, and I can maintain this. But if I want to share this order pad, I would click on the share button and then assign all the companies that will use this. Once that's done, when the customer logs in, they will see it appear under the dealer order pad option here, once it's synchronized and completed. The next thing I'm going to go on to is restriction. There's several different ways of restricting order pads. I know it's been talked about before, but let me just go over the same process again, because if I go into restriction, so some companies might set up a lot of company order pads for various reasons. So if you've set up 500 order pads against one company, but you've got contacts within that company that only want to see 1 or 2 of those order pads, they don't want to see everything. And it's maybe something that they're used to every single day. You want to limit those particular contacts to just those order pads. Well, just to see in this list. So if I'm logged into this company and I've got 500 order pads, you don't want the average user to be scrolling through 500 order pads here. So just to amend the list here to be a smaller list, you would actually go into the particular user, the web access, and then you have this option here to say restrict only. Well, there's several options here, so we're not going to use that one. Normal option for this is no restriction, so the customer would just see everything. But if you click onto this button here, restricted order pads, view allocate allowed products, it would just minimize whichever order pads are added here to show in this list here. So that's one way to restrict it. The other way is to restrict to only the products in the order pad. So you would click onto this button, add the order pads into here, and only the products that are shown in here or the user will only be able to see that when they're browsing the site. One thing that overrides this setting is if they've got standard catalogs ticked, because you've got standard catalogs ticked, you can see all the products. So it sort of contradicts this setting here. So if you want to do this type of restriction with an Orderpad list here, untick this box. And that is just a summary of the Orderpads. The only other thing I can cover on the Orderpads is that if you're having trouble creating several Orderpads for several different companies, if you go into the control panel and click onto customers and click on Orderpads, you have an option here to download the template CSV. So we download it. You'll see it's got 3 headers: account code, pad name, and item code. If you just fill out this information with a list of account codes, pad names, and item codes, then upload your CSV. It'll import it. It'll match against the account code to grab the company. It'll create an Orderpad with that pad name and add those items that match the SKU on SKU or item code here. Once that's done, it'll appear in here. And sometimes, if there are issues, you will get this. This is the last imported Orderpad. And if I click on view, it will tell me a report on what happened to it. So once that gets out the way, there we go. So this is the account code that was used. That was the pad name. That was the SKU, and it was created. So if there's any issues, you'll see a list here saying duplicates, incorrect SKU, incorrect account code or something. So it's just like a little summary. So with that said, I'll go on to the next section, which is product display. Now, Gary's already covered a lot of the relevancy and the changes we're implementing regarding keywords. We do offer another facility. Let me just switch off this user. There are different ways to display the products, and one of the ways we do allow when you go into the Orderpads, whether someone's noticed it or not, is if you're doing a general search, we have automatically, it will sort by relevance because we're trying to do the best scored product to appear at the top, and that's relevance. Then you do have other options such as name, price, code, and category as well. So category is also covered in the Orderpads as well. At one stage, it wasn't in the standard. Well, there's a bug. We'll move on. So if you go into the Orderpad section, you can actually use that browse by category. So if I click onto an Orderpad, and we can change into category. With this, the products, it's useful not when you've only got 2 items in an Orderpad, it's overcomplicated. But if you've got a lot of products, then it splits up the category, and you can see it very clear about which Orderpads are in which category. Another part of the sorting, if I just do a search for red pen, we have an order by price. Now, order by price, due to the amount of products that a typical user can search for, if I search for red, and they will, there's 7,000 products there. And, you know, if I do something absolutely silly, no, well, I was expecting a lot more. If there are a lot of products being returned, the expectation to calculate the exact price on every single product and to order it by it is, there's not enough resources to actually use that. So we need a generalization so we can actually perform a price calculation. So I've got 26,000 products for my search in black. So if I do an order by price, what we actually do to achieve this is use the MRSP that is assigned to every catalog and product, and use that as a generalized calculation of price. Once that's been done, we return it, and these products are the first, based on the MRSP, are the first 12. And I'll show the issues with using just 12 when you're using order by price. You'll see that it's actually ordered it these here, but the cheapest here is 245. If I go to the second page, the next one is going to be probably less than 245. And we've seen this on other websites that do the similar thing. One of the main reasons for this is that one, I'm logged in and I've probably got a lot of discounted products on here. If I'm logged off, I would probably see a more general pricing rule because it's based on MRSP, more closely related to it. If I increase the number of products per page, I would actually get a better turnout of the results. If this has gone back to page 1, yeah. So now I'm picking up the first 96 products that is ordered by MRSP, applied the price calculation, and you can see the prices are much lower. Get to the 5,400. If you go to the second page, it will not be 5,400. So I think this is going to be based on a lot of contracts. It is a test system. But if I log out, just to show that the prices will be more reflective of MRSP. By price. Change it to 96. Not the best site to use. I scroll down. Still getting that same thing. Generally, this is because we're limited on the number of resources. This is the only way at the moment where we're allowed to order by price to get the result with the limited resources on that. But we'll be probably changing this into the future. But one of the consequences of it is that we might have to start storing prices if you want to achieve more valid price ordering. But in order to do that, you would have to calculate prices based on discount, product, contract, catalogs, packed contracts, margins, featured product, expired products, locations, because every one of those parts of the resource affect the price. So let me move on to the next section, which is the product display. So we did see on this page some issues with some of the products, and you can see these skew dashes. These skew dashes here, which means that this product is showing this information because it is based off it. There is a certain catalogs assigned to this web store control company. We go into Prima. Pricing. These are the catalogs that have been assigned to this web store control company. So when it comes to display the product on the page, those catalogs in priority order pick up the description. So if I find the priority order, So in this instance, Exertus will be picked up first, then Val, then OT, and then the other catalogs in any sort of order because they've got no sort of priority assigned to it. So effectively, when we're doing a search here, the product here will have the PG number, the Prima ID, internal number, and it will attempt to try and find a description on the Exertus for this product. If it can't find it, it'll go down to the next one and try and find a Val description. If it can't find that, it'll go to the OT and so on and so on. If it still can't find anything after that, then there's absolutely no information that is assigned to the web store control company to actually tell it what to display here. So we default back down to this way of displaying it to identify that it hasn't got the best information and it needs addressing. Sometimes this can also happen if say this customer previously had spices, it's created a product, a spices product. When it gets loaded onto the web, it's still holding onto the PG number that was assigned to spices, which might not be equivalent onto any other catalog. So you will have a PG number floating around that was a part of a catalog that is no longer associated. So because, again, it can't find any related information, then it will display this information. If you've got a product record and you still want to display this product and you've still got stock, the best thing to do is, if I click onto here, it will actually tell you which stock code is actually related to it. So if I go into the back office, I'll be able to find that stock code. And if I still want to display this product and sell it, the advised option is to protect the descriptions of that product. So I look up the product. So because it's not getting picked up, we can have this option here, which would be to protect it. It would use this description that's internal, and it would use this SKU that's internal. So if you click that, save it, you would have to wait for the EDC to pick up, and as you can see, my EDC is not running. Once that's been done, it would actually use that local information and display it here. It's not advised to do for everything because we've got better images in the central source. But generally, when you're coming across or moving across from a previous catalog, you either discontinue this product and it won't show on the web, or if you've got, like I said, you've got stock, you can enable it this way and protect it. Let me just see if I've covered everything. Yeah, I think I've covered everything on that. And pass it across to Jordan, who's going to be going over emails.
Thank you very much, Jim. Okay, so as Gary touched on at the start, I'm going to go over the emails, kind of like the whole process, and what sort of emails go out from the web and how you can set them up and edit them and choose which people get the emails, etc. So first of all, I'll start off with PrimaCloud or back office, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
All good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you can come into Prima, and so basically what I'm going to go over first is getting the account manager BCC'd into the order acknowledgements. And the reason I'm going over the setting is it can be quite confusing because it's in kind of an inconvenient place. But I'll show you anyway, just in case people have forgotten or have not been told it properly. So you go into the company here. So I've already got it open on this tab. And then you've got these tabs up here across the top. Then you come to customer. And then there's a little checkbox down here, and it's called email and web order. I know to the average person that might not explain what it actually does, but this is to have the account manager for this particular company to be BCC'd into all the emails that go out for purchase orders from the web. But just having this ticked is fine, but you must make sure that you actually have an account manager assigned. So see here, we've got Gary assigned. And you also need to make sure that this particular user has got an email address. Otherwise, obviously, it won't be going out to them. So that's all I really need to cover in this sort of thing, because I'm mainly going to be going over the web stuff. So I'll head over to our control panel. So if I just start off on the dashboard. So the main email settings are in system and settings. And then we have the emails here. So here's another option to have them CC'd into. This is also the sales manager. So I guess either or is a good option. They'll obviously send the same emails, same thing. So I don't think you need to have both ticked, because you need to have the BCC and them CC'd in on the same email. So staying on the order acknowledgement, you can also enter as many email addresses as you'd like to be copied into this email. So what you do is you'd type for example, I could put this in here, and then you'd have to separate it with a semicolon, and you could enter another one and another one, and all these people will be blind copied into the order acknowledgement. So I mean, I'd be careful with this one, because you don't want just anyone seeing it. So so on to the next. So basically, this next one is a no reply email. So this is what the customer sees when they receive an email that's been generated from your store. So you can either put your own one in here. So this is an example. I just put no reply at primasoftware.co.uk. So you could put whatever you want. It could be like a sales email or something like that. And if you leave this blank, and essentially what it'll do is it'll look at your host name. So this one's called webstore44. So it'll do no reply at webstore44.officesoftware.co.uk. It'll do that. So that's if you leave it blank, it'll just take it from your host name and put that there. And obviously with this, I've tried to highlight only one address only. You can only have one address. The only one that you can have multiple for is this top one in the order acknowledgements. All the rest are, because this is a from address. Obviously, you can't have a from address for multiple email addresses. So this is why it must be kept to one. If you do try and enter two, then it won't save. So the next one I'm moving on to is the email address that's blind copied in for registration email. So this will be when someone comes to a web store and they want to register or request an account. Registering for account is an automatic process. So there and then the customer's account can be created and it will log them in. However, if it's someone signing up for the first time, they should get a email confirm sort of email, just to stop spamming or these attacks that we have or prone to. They'll get an email and they'll get a link in the email and they'll go on there, click on it, and that just confirms that it's not a robot or someone trying to hack the system. And once they've confirmed that email, it'll log them in with the account that's just been created for them. Or the other option is to request an account. And this option, you fill out a form, and this is sent to the dealer, and then the dealer then decides if they want to create an account for this person that's requested it. But this option here is, so I've just put my personal email in here just to give an example. So anytime any of these emails are created, this email will be blind copied into it. Again, it might be good for a salesperson to have their email here so they can see who's wanting to sign up or create an account. But yeah, again, I've said here this can only be just the one email. And so so this last one is again, this is this particular email address being BCC'd into the emails that go out. But this one's a little bit different. This is for automated tasks. And these are things that can be, actually, I'll show you the page where you can do it. These are tasks that can be, so don't worry about this error thing. These emails don't get sent out because it's a test system. But this just kind of gives you an idea of when they were last run, etc. So if I click into this, for example, so here, this has been created for an abandoned basket. So this will email you an abandoned basket, or the abandoned baskets that obviously are abandoned baskets, and you can set like what time, so when you want to start it from. So obviously you'd probably do it from the day that you're setting it up, and you can say at what time you want it to be sent out per day, and you can say, I want to repeat it however many times. So you can put, I want to do it every hour. You can just select this hour. You got days, weeks, months, years, etc. And here it just gives you a bit of information about when it was last run, if there was a problem, obviously. But with this, so this will be the email that it goes out to, and then in this previous option here, this will be also BCC'd into it if you wish to enter one here. But if I just go back to this, there's quite a few different options. So you've got your random baskets, you've got image duration, bad emails. Bad emails is just like it would go through your database and check for emails that aren't legitimate. Like say if you've got an email that's missing like an @ symbol, then this obviously isn't going to work. So if they try and send an email out to it, it's never going to go to that email address. So it'll let you know of all the bad emails that you've got in your system. Emails of expired catalogs. You know, you might forget, oh, you're not aware that a catalog's expired. This will email you, or to this email address, letting you know which ones have expired. Duplicate PG numbers. This can sometimes happen when bad data is imported, and it can have an effect on the system. So this will just let you know you got duplicate products in there. And yeah, so this is another one. This is, so if someone's placed an order and they've not got an email address, it will let you know. So the customer placed an order, they don't get an email, and they're wondering why they've got no confirmation. It's probably because that particular user's not got an email. So this will email you, letting you know that this is what's happened. Obviously, these will have to be set up to be sent out, and you can, as I said before, you can choose how many times you want to repeat it per hour, day, month, year, etc. So that's the automated tasks, and then there's one option left here at the bottom of these email settings, which is show the status on the order acknowledgement. So depending on how your users are set up in the back office, it might be a pending order, it might be awaiting dealer authorization, etc. And it'll show this status on the email if you want it to, and if not, you can just untick it, obviously. So there is another section in here for emails, and it's the email templates. So to get to that, you just come back to system, and it's here, email templates. As you can see, there's a number of emails. These are all the ones that come out from the web store. You got your account registration, if an order's been cancelled, customer feedback, order confirmed. This is just like a generic one that we use. Got a lost password, order acknowledgement, requesting information on the product, and your recent product reviews. This is like if someone leaves a review on one of your products. So what you can do is say, I'll demonstrate this one, for example. So this is an order acknowledgement. You can come in here. You can change the subject. So this will change the subject to email. You can change the color of the header, the background, and you can put like a little message in here. Whatever you want. You might want to advertise something. I'm not sure. It'd be up to the dealer, but this is sort of like this will appear after all the content that's generated, such as the products. So if I give you an example here, you can click this preview button, and then here this will say this is just a test one, but this is giving you an example of what the email would look like. So you've got all this information here. I say, dear Mr. Jerry Blogs, waiting customization, and then at the end it would include your little message that you've put in there. So that's just an example of, obviously you can click through all these if you'd like and see what they look like. They just, so say if you want passwords, this will show you what the email password would look like. It'd give you a link to click on it to reset the password, etc. I think I've covered everything that I can remember for emails. If there's anything that I've missed or you want to ask a question about any of the emails, I know we've been getting quite a lot of tickets recently on the emails. If anything's not clear, please ask any questions in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. With that said, I'll pass on to Dan. I think that's my section finished.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. I'll just take over sharing the screen. Okay, so just going to go through a few different areas that we've made changes to. So starting with the control panel, this is probably what you're more familiar with if you're still on the old system. But if you've moved on to the new system, you'll see that this is the control panel that you're presented with. To get to this site, it's golive.primasoftware.co.uk, and that's what you need to be using for this new version once you've upgraded your web store. And when you initially log into that web store, you're presented with a kind of an overview of or certain aspects of your web data. So this is specifically relating to the PrimaGo web store. So we can see the so you get a kind of invoice orders, place orders, average sales, total users, companies, and products. Get an overview of your total profits and sales, and some brief summary of what you have set up in your company record. You have also advantage of seeing the EDC, whether this is online or offline. So as this is a local system, mine's offline at the minute. And this is, as Jim mentioned before, is crucial for the syncing of products to your web store. So ideally, this needs to be online at all times, and is often the cause of why products are missing, prices are wrong, or any kind of issues regarding the data on the actual web store. Then on to the left of that, you've got some links to certain facilities which may be of use to yourself. So as Jordan was showing, the system settings is quite a common area that you have to delve into. So I'll jump you straight to that. Another thing is if you're having problems with a certain item not appearing on the web store, then the product problem checker can take you through that. So you just enter the stock code. You can then also filter this by company, if it's a particular company you're looking at, and you can filter it by a particular contact. So you can see roughly what they should be seeing when they're accessing the web store. Another useful facility, which did exist in the old one, it's just been renamed as login as user. I think Jim showed this area as well. So if you can search on a company, and you search on that company, and it will show you the different accounts that are web enabled. So you can see this one, for instance, here is not web enabled, so it's not a clickable option. But any that is web enabled, you just click onto that account, and it will log you straight into that on your web store. I should just wait for that one to load. Yeah, so it's logged me into that. If you're looking for a particular contact and you find it's easier, just rather than searching for the actual company, you can click this option on the right hand side to press contact, and you can search them there. So if I just search myself, and then that'll take you to that contact, and then you can just click onto that contact and log in the same way. Another thing that's on this dashboard is the access to the Prima Marketplace, which is an area which is going to be heavily utilized in the new version. I won't quite go into that because that probably requires its own webinar. Then further down, we have some more insights into your store, so we can see an overview of those that are returning or new customers, so the average of that within the past month, the status of these orders, and And if you need further details, there's a detailed view here. So if you click that option here, it gives you a bit more insight into, so this is like broken down per company. And you can see the users, the status of that order, when it was created, the references to that order, the total cost, and then whether a PO has been generated for that particular order. And then to the right of that, you've got your top selling items. So this looks at the past month automatically. But you can change this. So if you click on the dates, you can go further back. So we can go back to, say, beginning of May. Okay, I've not got much data in this test system. There you go. So for the 1st of January, you can see that this actually changes. You can also go more into today as well if you wanted to. So those options are there at the top. And then abandoned baskets. Again, this is just kind of an overview of your abandoned baskets. So you can, again, see them broken down per company. So I think it's the top 10 in the abandoned baskets. And if you want to drill down further into these particular abandoned baskets, you can click on View All, and it will take you to this screen, which I think most people should be familiar with, which is in Customers and Abandoned Baskets. So we just go back again. And then on the right-hand side of that, you've got your search trends. So this will give you an overview of the kind of words that are being searched on your web store. So this is actually sorted by what is the most recent popular result. So value X, for instance, has been searched 12 times. If it's going to the detail view, since May. So this is the kind of the trending word at the minute. Prior to that, it was this particular product code. So you can use that to see whether if something's particularly popular, so you can maybe offer discounts if appropriate. Or you may try and find ways to promote other items if they're not appearing in the top of this list. So you can find ways to try and promote those, and you can hopefully get an idea of what people are searching for on your actual web store. Beneath that, we have, this is not a good representation, it's not quite got all my categories in here, but you can see your top selling categories as well. That's broken down there, and then user activity. So this is things that are people, for instance, people logging into the web store, people adding products to the basket, creating an order. You can see all that within. Again, it's a brief overview of, I think you get a sample of 10 from each of these, if there is 10. So there's only 6 for the created order. And if you go into View All, that gives you again the further insight into that particular section. On the left-hand side, you'll notice as well, so we've kind of tried to merge some groups together. So there are quite a few different options on here. So this has kind of been moved together. So design should really cover all the design aspects of your web store, and then data should all cover all the data aspects of your web store. We're still going through and making some changes, but you can see some changes have actually already been applied. So, like for instance, the file manager's changed. The promotional, which is to promote certain aspects. So these are like for your header banners on your home page, and the footer banner, the strap line that you can show, selling points, voucher banners. The page layout's also changed. Yep, so you can see there's been a few changes. There's still more changes to come, but these have not yet been released. But we are working towards in hopefully making the process a bit more intuitive for you going through there. Don't think there's any particular other aspect to go through, so I'll move on to the next thing. So the other thing that's has been added to the modules section is blogs. So if you go to design modules, and in the miscellaneous at the bottom, there is an option for blogs. Now we did have an option for blogs in the old system, but this is there's only just been migrated to this new system with a few tweaks. And before, it was a page which you couldn't really modify too much. But now this is module based, so this can be added to any page that allows you to add a module to the page, and can be shown on the left panel, right side panel, the middle panel. So I'll just go through this now. So if you just want to create a blog, you could just press add new blog, and then you just assign the title. Now, although this has been designed within the mind of blogs, it doesn't have to be used particularly for blogs. You can use it for anything that you want to have a hierarchy of pages. So you can have it for like news, certain certain content which you might kind of want to just display in a kind of a similar format. So I'll just go through what the format looks like now. So I've just gone with company blog for myself. So you can edit the title. We have a promotional title, which I'll go into, and then whether this is active or not. Within this blog, these are the entries that I have inside there. So these are my titles for those sub blog entries, and the departments that I've set, which that's just free text. You can set that to anything you want, and the author of that article. As well as that, you'll see which ones have thumbnails allocated against them, whether they're promoted or not, and whether they're active. And again, it's just to add one, press add entry, and you can type in the title there. So if we just go into this option here, so in here you can say edit the title or add a title if you haven't. Set the date. So this is you can start working on this for say next month if you wanted to, as long as this is inactive. It won't show on the actual web store. But you can allocate the date of when this is, the date allocated against that particular blog. The author, again, this is free text, so you can change that to anything you want, as it goes for the department. And again, I'll go into how the promote works in a second, but you can mark this as promoted. And then you can allocate a thumbnail to this particular article, and then this is the contents of your article. Once you're happy with that your blog module is set up, then like with any kind of modules, you need to go into design, page layout. Now, in this case, I've created a separate page. So this is when I've created a blog. So to create a page, at the bottom there is create new page. And then you can put the names in here and then save that and then add the modules here. So I'll just go to my blog page. So here I've added a banner, just without a blog banner, and then I've added my module blogs and then save that. So on the web store, we go onto here and go onto blog. So I've added it into the, just so you know as well, and I've added this to the navigation menu by ticking that option here. You're then presented with this screen. So again, this is my banner that I've added, and then this is the blog module. So you can see the articles that I've got. Now this will be ordered from the newest at the top to the oldest at the bottom. And then this is where the promoted aspect comes into there. So this is the text that you've set in. Let me just jump to that. This is the text that you've set here. So I've put the word as promoted, and that will show there. And then the promoted items, as you can see, take precedence over the others. So even if it's older than the other ones, it will present at the top. That will also then be ordered by date as well. So the newest promoted item that appears first. Just so you can see as well what I did there as well. You can, if you want to make any adjustments from this screen, you can click the little pencil icon, which will jump you straight into the blog itself to modify. I think the same goes with any kind of these module based options. Now you can, as I say, because there's the module base, you can build more around it. So we could add an option on the right if you wanted to. So this is just useful links that I've allocated. Just refresh that. There you go. So you can see the page just shifts slightly like that. If you prefer to have different content on the page, you could also allocate the module on the left or the right, however you chose. So I'm just going to do that on this. So I'll refresh. So you can see here that you've got this on the left hand side, so you can see how that looks. And again, you can have that on the right if you wanted to. And if you didn't want it to be particularly just a blog page, and you just wanted it at the side of whatever content you had here. And as I say, it doesn't necessarily have to be blogs. It's just that's the option. So I'll just put this back to the blog page and refresh that. So That's loaded. Yep. And so then if you go into the article itself, so just continue reading. So we've got to load. Yep. And then this is the contents of your blog. So this is the title that you allocated against it, the author and department. If you don't set these values, then this won't appear. So the written by won't appear as well. And the same goes on the previous page. I think it says by and then the author and market department. So this section would not be present if you don't assign any values to that. And then on the right hand side, you can see promoted articles, which they can jump straight into. Now these pages aren't modular based, so they're just a solid page, so you can't really make any changes yet to this, but we may change that in future. But for now, it's just a page that they can view that content. I will also say as well, the content itself doesn't have to be just pure text as I've done here. You can add images within here. You can add custom. I think so you can customize it. So you can put different stylings on it. You can shift it however you want. So hopefully you can build that up exactly how you'd want that particular blog page to be, not just simple text as I've done here. Just let's content. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, thumbnails are optional. So as you can see, if there is no thumbnail, that shows you the full option there, and if there is, that gets thumbnails. So you can do all thumbnails, alternating thumbnails, or no thumbnails at all. Obviously, you got to try and choose the best image, because certain sizes will be implemented. So you have to go to a certain size for this to look visually pleasing. But again, it's an option that which you can have or not have if you choose. Don't think there's any more to that blog. Nope. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is is the categories at the top. So I know Gary was getting into that earlier. So in part of trying to enhance your site, we've been trying to improve the SEO of PrimaGO in general. So Google will look at your site and see whether it's worthy of the search criteria. So the better your site is, the better you'll rank in Google. And so SEO is a very important aspect of that. And so we're always trying to expand on that and allow it to be better indexed by Google, and be a bit more rich in content that Google can actually understand, and then utilize to be able to direct the appropriate people to your site. So one aspect we've changed is recently is the category section here. So if you hover over these, you can see all your different categories that you have here. Now, just before I get into that, actually, you can see accessories on the right hand side here. It's only got like one entry. Now you might find you want to change this view to be a bit more visually pleasing. If you want them all to have the same number at the top and organized by size, you can also have it organized by your most popular subcategories. So if you find that you're selling more batteries than, say, office environment items, then you can actually change that in here as well. So if you go into all categories, if you go into furniture, you can rearrange this. So if I put batteries at the top, so again, to change that is data and all categories. And then if I refresh this, I think it should. You see batteries now is moved to the top. So you can rearrange this however you want. Now, if you click on to the actual furniture section, so in relation to the SEO, one thing is important is keywords. Now I know some people have heard that it's crucial to be meta keywords. Google's kind of become wise to people using meta keywords and abusing that. So they value more actual content on the page, because that's actually what you present to your actual end users. So they do prefer to have have the keywords actually on the page if they to determine whether it's a genuine content that you're trying to share. So in here we've tried to enhance the amount of information that's shown in the particular category. So for this is again a test site, so this is got kind of bad data in here, but under my furniture section I have I think most of my actual subcategories. But you can see here, so we've got the title of the subcategory, and then for the subcategories of this one, they're presented below, so you can see that you can get a bit more insight as to kind of what the content is on these particular subcategories. The image itself that is selected through a kind of process which is trying to find an image. Now this sometimes fails, as you can see, it's failed on tapes and that one there. And it will try and find the best image, but it may not be quite suitable, or you kind of want to change that. So you can change these images as well. So if you go into pick batches at the top, if you go on to the general tab, there's an option here, so you can select the image, you can browse and upload an image, and then once you've applied those changes, then that image will actually show instead. So you can put better images onto this page if you prefer to. But yeah, you can scroll through all these. So this is actually adopting as well another module that we do have, which was put together by Jordan. So if you go on to image category, this is kind of a similar aspect. So which I've got that on my homepage. So if you wanted to kind of have a similar look, you've got on your homepage, and then that's also been adopted here, so you can have some kind of consistency with that. If I scroll further down as well, I've got quite a few in this one. We have again kind of the subcategories listed here, because some of them may be slightly cut off. I don't think you actually got any cut off in this example. But you can see all those subcategories, and again, this is just to emphasize to Google that this is the kind of the contents that we have on the site within this particular category. So and hopefully drawing people into that, because this is stuff they may be interested in. Beneath that, you'll also see I've picked the top 18 brands for the particular category. So again, this is a bit messed up because of the on my subcategories in this section. But this will pick the top 18 brands and display them at the bottom there like that. We have as well tried to grab some more of the brand icons. So I think we've actually included an additional 400 brand icons into here, which gets utilized elsewhere, which I'll show you. So if we don't currently have the brand icon, then it'll just show us the pure text. But if we do, then you get the icon itself. Now, if you actually click the icon, it'll do a search for that particular brand as well. So we just click that. It'll then load up any kind of Avery products. Now, I know there may be some room for improvement on this particular section, but I know this may come along with the upgrades mentioned earlier. So if we go into this particular product, wait for it to load, you will see as well at the right here, this is where typically you get to see the brand icon as well, which also does the same search. So as I say, we do have an additional 400 icons to be added, so that will look a bit more visually pleasing than the simple text that we have that do appear for some of them. So I think that's all in relation to the brand section. So now so the other aspect that we've also implemented is in relation to the quotes. So you can already create web quotes, but there is some work that needs to be done around that. So we are doing some tweaks and improvements in that section. Let me just log into my account. So I've got got items in my basket. So what you can do is the new feature that we'll be adding. This is still in the development stage at the moment, so I won't show you to the full extent. But if you search for an item, again, we all love the red pen, thanks to Gary. If I'm just wait for that to load up, you can add this to your basket as you normally would. And then view basket. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I've not got the option enabled at the moment. So there's, yeah, say this still is in the development stage. So there will be a button that appears in the basket screen, which says request a quote. Now, once you press that option, so once you're happy of all the items that you're actually interested in of getting a quote for, you press request a quote, and then this will go off to the dealer, waiting for their authorization. So I have done this with a previous example. So once you have requested a quote, you'll get a new option blinking away at the top here. So my little notifications window, and you can see that I have one available quote. So if I go into that particular quote, we can see that this one's pending. So this is one I actually did yesterday. And that's my quote number, and then this was created by, and then when it expires. So if I click into this quote that's still pending, but this is obviously for the user's point of view, they'll be able to see that quote that they've put through to yourself. So again, it's quoted item here, and then we can see the status of that quote is pending. So this then requires you to actually approve that quote on your side within the back office. Once you've approved that, the customer then will have the option to either accept your quote, decline it, or ask for a requote. Once they've accepted that quote, they will then be able to continue building their basket if they want, or just process the order as they normally would. The other thing they can do with that particular quoted item is if you quote them, say, for 10 items, for a certain price, then they can increase that quantity. So they can increase it from 10 to 20, for instance. But they won't be able to decrease that for the same price. So they'll have to put a minimum of, let's say, if they pick 10, minimum of 10 of those items through at that price. Other than rejecting the quote and then having you change the minimum amount. And then once that's all been accepted, I say it processes in the same way, in that they put the order through, and then at that price with any additional items that they may choose to add. As I say, I can't fully demonstrate that at the minute because it's still in the development stage, but that should be coming shortly as well. So I think that's all my topics. So I think I'll hand you back to Gary and stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Dan. That was great. It's a good job there's no identical twins on this call, isn't there? Because I don't look anything like Jim. That's been pointed out a couple of times. Okay, so what we've done there, just to recap, is we've gone over the infrastructure upgrades. And what I would say, I know you can't answer, but Jack Donovan and Jamie Spicer, who are on this call, you haven't upgraded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email directly after this call with some records. Okay, so we can talk about getting you guys upgraded to the latest platform, so you can make use of the new features, make use of the new speed, and make use of the new look and feel, which would be good. The actual process we now have in place by addressing the infrastructure, by addressing the speed, and then clearly looking at the keyword searching to really improve the user experience is really an exciting prospect. And there's lots of other features coming. So now we've got bi-monthly releases with release notes. I have to add the fact that we can move people to a beta release if you need something urgently. It would really help. It's going to really benefit everyone. I've seen a few questions come about Marketplace. We are going to be doing a Marketplace webinar at the end of November. to cover off the new features, the little issues we've had with the initial release, but you'll be wowed by the changes that are coming. So watch the space for that date to come out. What's coming in the next couple of months as well for PrimaGO? Clearly, the discussion we had earlier on the weighting, to make sure we can have exact partial plural matches. We can actually then add in responses within groups. So if you search for a pen, it goes into writing instruments first as a top priority, as a better weighting than a desktop pen or something like that, which isn't within desks. But there's key changes to there. So that will be a gradual release, and I'm more happy to, if people have searches they're not happy with, just drop me a message, because it's really difficult to review searches, because as soon as you start thinking, well, what am I going to search for, you tend to get a blank. And if you're sitting having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea at some point, think, oh, I really wish I could search the results for that better, just let us know, because I'd rather add it into the project than get our set right at the end. So there's a free open page there for you. What other changes are coming in the future? I'm conscious we've got 5 minutes left. The badging of products. So you'll be able to badge a range of products, a group of products, single products with maybe selling fast or out of stock soon or coming soon. Whatever you want to put on the product, it'll be able to be badged. You'll be able to link products together. So you might want to link a particular range of pen with a particular range of paper, because people who bought this also bought that. Jordan mentioned about emails. Well, we are going to incorporate email campaigns into the control panel as well. So you'll be able to have a campaign set up, for example, to go to your abandoned baskets or to do a promotion of products, etc., and be built into your application. We're constantly improving the key data. So everyone knows about a green product. Well, now green is yesterday's news, and the reason I say it that way is a green product is actually now broken down into about 40 different sections. Okay, so it might be an ISO range, it might be an eco-friendly range, it might be 20% recycled, it might be 40% recycled. We're starting to get that information from suppliers. So if we're getting that information, we'll share with you how you can utilize that information in your store. So it's not just green. So you get all your green pens and your green paper. It actually goes down into key categories, and you can actually then show those key categories either singly or in multiple sections as well. When you have banners on the websites, PrimaGO is very good at allowing you to put your own banner. The question that we do get regularly is, well, what size should that banner be? If I'm setting up myself, the details are in the control panel, but what we're going to add in is the ability for a supplier to share a banner. So again, a common question is, well, I've got this promotion from this supplier. You have to go and get that promotional banner and add it to PrimaGO. Well, it's actually much better if that supplier is already uploaded and you're a subscriber of that catalog, and then you can select that particular banner, that particular image. So whatever image is on your web store, they'll be able to create banners and images for the web store. So again, it just reduces the amount of work that you have to do. We are constantly improving the Google integration, and I've seen a couple of comments come back about how impressed they are now that we're actually getting more hits, more linked products within the Google. So if you sign up to Google Console, Dan in particular there has done a huge amount of work with Google to actually link the products in to make sure you get the SEO rankings. And obviously also what we've said there is the more data, more key words you get on there, the more keywords you get on there, the higher up the rankings that you go. You don't actually have to pay for indexing. You know, it's there. So again, we can work with you on getting that going. A small change that will be coming in the next 2 months is the ability to set up a customer login. So right now you can set up one of your customers' logins to have a different logo. Fantastic. but actually, wouldn't it be better if you could have a different banner, a different footer, a different header for that login, because it might be a particularly sensitive customer, or you want to go that one extra mile for them. So you'll be able to set up particular banners, footers, and headers linked into the customer, linked into the control panel. Again, we'll cover that off in the next release. And finally, we're looking at adding in, and I'd like some feedback on this, is reoccurring orders and scheduling orders. If you can come back to me and say, well, actually, we set up a lot of reoccurring orders, so and a reoccurring order maybe from the shopping baskets. They built a basket and they can set that through a recurring order once a month on the last of the month, or the 15th of the month, or once a week. Or it might be that the customer's going on holiday and they want to build an order and say, I'm going on holiday for the next 2 weeks, so I actually want this order to come to me on the 10th of November. So should it be possible that they can build and plan an order as a one-off order? So it's not technically a scheduled order, although it is scheduled for one, but if you see what I mean. So would you all benefit from reoccurring orders where you can, a customer can set a reoccurring order up, so it's a frequent order, update that order, etc. And would it benefit from if they can set up a one-off order to cover out of office times? And that's it. So we'll have another webinar in the next 2 to 3 months to cover off all the new features. I'll hand you back to Andy now to close the meeting down.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So as you can see, obviously the guys have been hard at work with a lot of new features that are coming live in the next couple of months. Some really good stuff that I think everyone's kind of looking forward to from there. So definitely keep your eye out. Obviously, kind of any information such as new features like the blogs, for example, we will have some new guides on that if anyone needs a bit of a recap. Just in case anyone did join a little bit late today, this entire session has been recorded as well. So once we've polished that up and edited Gary's face to make it really beautiful, we'll have that sent out on an email campaign to you as well, just so you can catch up on any bits and bobs. If you've got kind of any questions on the back of this, obviously I know Gary said about getting in touch with him for any of those direct points he's mentioned, so you can do that. Alternatively, kind of any queries or any questions you've got, anything you'd like to kind of for us to take a look into, just pop us an email or a call through to our support line, and we can pick it up from there for you. Obviously, like we said, a few kind of extra events that are ongoing for the rest of the year. We do have a Dublin user group meeting on the 21st of November that there's still some spaces for. So if you are interested in attending, just drop me an email and I can get you added on the list for that one. But with that being said, I think that'll be all from us today. Hope you've really enjoyed the session, and thanks for taking the time to join us today. So bye for now, and hope you have a great rest of the week. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.